Thank you for that question. I appreciate that because we want people to walk away with as much information as possible.
Yes.
They can simply go to AAPF, Alpha, Suedo, Friends, AAPF.org, which stands for I was trying to make it simple, right? But that stands for the African American Policy Forum.org. Go right to our page, and everything is there that we are doing this summer. Go under initiatives, and you'll see CRT Summer School 2025, and you'll see the work we're doing for democracy defenders. Click right on that, and we invite you to join us. I also invite people to follow up with me. You're like, I need to get more information. I need to talk with someone. Reach out to me. I'm on all forms of social media. That's Kaye Whitehead. That's Kaye, Whitehead. I'm also, just to note, if I could just take a point of privilege, Barbara, I'm also the president of ASALH, folks. And ASALH is the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, Carter G. Woodson's organization. So what I hold is the teaching of Black history. And if I tell people we don't wait to be proclaimed, we proclaim ourselves. But in doing that, we need to teach our people our history so they can teach our children our history. And part of fascism survival is trying to disconnect our memory from us so that we only have in our minds what they're teaching us who we are. We have to make sure we are teaching our children the truth about who we are so they can stand in that truth and in that power. That's also part of what we're doing in Nashville.
My. You know, and people, you want to go and do that as soon as you can because to attend, you need to be registered. So we want to make sure that you register. I'm happy that Dr. Kaye is going to be there as one of the professors. I'm happy that I'm going to be there. And the mighty,
Kimberly
and the mighty
is going to be there.
You got it. And we're going to have people like Tim Wise is going to be there, Dr. Robin Kelly. Oh, my gosh. We got some powerful people. Justin Jones.
Everybody's going to be there. Kelly Carter Jackson from the book We Resist is going to be there. You know, there are a lot of places you just have to say. I tell people, and Barbara, I know you can attest to this. I have a lot of my father's friends, and everyone marched with Dr. King. They're like, oh, we all marched with Dr. King. I'm like, well, everyone who said they marched with Dr. King actually marched with Dr. King, we probably will be further along, right? So instead of having to lie to your kids a year from now, where were you in 2025? Instead of having to lie, just tell the truth, show up, be with us on the ground, because this is boots on the ground for real time.
Yes.
This is actually where we need to make our ancestors proud in this moment.
And Eboni, we're bringing 10 young people, from the TJC cohort, and there's many other young people coming from all over the country. You've been to one of our trainings. You know what this means. What do you want to say to people who are sitting out there saying, well, I do have the summer open. It sounds like this is good. I'm just not sure. What do you want to say to them right now, Eboni?
I would say do not hesitate and get involved. What are you waiting for?
Eboni, when you were speaking, and Karen and Kaye, Dr. Kaye, I was thinking about the fact that Miami was chartered by Black people. Most folks don't know that. Because there was just a big celebration, right, Eboni? A couple of, about a year ago of the anniversary. I mean, when people say, Miami, they don't think about us, but it was chartered by Black people, folks, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And that's part of that history that Dr. Kaye was saying they're trying to take away from us. Karen, this big, ugly A bill. This horrible, killer bill is what I call it, because it knows that it's going to kill people, that the results of passing this law is going to kill people. A lot of folks don't know and don't think that they're impacted by this. They just don't know what it does. They're not clear. There's so many lies going on. We all know that the Social Security Administration sent out a total lying letter that people have gotten and have been upset by it because people hate to be lied to. Tell people, for Black America, what do we really need to know about this big, ugly bill so that when we meet and when we gather around the country on July 17th in protest, we know what we're protesting all the way.
Thank you, Barbara, for the opportunity. And Dr. Kaye, I got to get with you because I used to be the executive director of the South. And after I left the Original Black Caucus Foundation, Mr. Lewis, who I worked for, we came in CBC at the same time. He told me then, and I wrote it down, he said, we must make sure that our young people never forget the legacy of our history.
Yes.
And when I consulted with him when I was transitioning, that's one thing he made sure of. He said, we must never forget our humanity, and we must never forget our history. So I thank you for bringing me home with respect to that. But what this bill does to us as a people, if you use Planned Parenthood clinics, they'll be defunded. You're going to have increased health care costs for more than 1 million people that are Medicare enrollees. If you're having out-of-pocket expenses, they're increasing. If your kids use SNAP or in lunch programs in school, free lunch programs in school, they're ripping food assistance away from children. They're also ripping food assistance for children who are in foster care, for veterans, and the homeless. If you have a student loan, they're increasing 3-4-fold. They're creating a slush fund for Trump administration to do whatever they want. $30 billion for out of control deportation force. We already talked about the concentration camp. I also put out here again that there's HB 618 coming out of Alabama, which gives their Department of Corrections authority to negotiate with foreign countries to house those who are incarcerated.
My Lord.
55% of black men in Alabama are incarcerated, so we know where this trend is going. So we have to be very mindful of what's going on. As I mentioned, SNAP programs, and they thought they were getting to black and brown people with the cutting of Medicaid and SNAP. But what we know, in order, Louisiana, which has a high percentage of black people, is first with Medicaid. Next comes West Virginia. Next comes Kentucky. Then Arkansas. Then Alaska, which is why Lisa Murkowski and her vote didn't make much sense. And then Montana. Those are the 6 highest states that use Medicaid. They're going to be disproportionately affected. Then with SNAP, in order, Louisiana, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Alabama, North Carolina. That's going to disproportionately affect them, but they thought they were getting at us. Enough of us will be affected, but more of them, of their base, will be affected as well. So that's more than 12 million people will lose their health care coverage. That's what this big, ugly bill, as Hakeem Jeffries said, Leader Hakeem Jeffries, how will affect disproportionately people of color. That's it.
Daryl, $1.1 trillion in Medicaid and SNAP cuts are being made in this bill. Folks, 40 million people rely on SNAP and will be affected by this. Those summer programs that you see where they feed children during the summer, those programs are going to be gone in many places. Do you know that if your child is getting free lunch, it's going to be harder for them to get the other, the free breakfast programs in addition? If you're sitting up here and you're listening to this, and you have a family member who's on Medicaid, they will be affected by this. It's estimated that by 2034, 16 million, I said 16 million people will lose their health insurance. 16 million. Don't forget that not everybody in this country already has health insurance. There's a huge uninsured population still out there, and this will increase it. What does that mean? That means people are going to die. If you need medical care, if you need medicine, I happen to have to be in the emergency room with my brother. Just a couple of days ago on Friday and Saturday, and I just saw. It was just teeming with people in all kinds of levels of pain, children, elders. It was just painful to watch. Folks having to go through that urgent care, emergency care, because they don't have primary doctors, and they need whatever help they can get. And hearing, this whole inquisition about their health care and et cetera, and they're, just doubled over in pain. It was just so painful to watch. It's a reminder that we have a system that doesn't work well right now, and they're going to make it worse because they want people to die. Daryl?
You're absolutely right, Barbara, with regards to the analysis on this reconciliation bill that now has passed. And, Dr. McRae, one of the areas that people have not focused on that's in this bill is dealing with housing. And, when you look at this bill, there are significant cuts that have been made to Section 8 housing as well as rental aid programs. So not only are they making it more difficult for children to be fed, and for adults to receive health care services, and and those economically disadvantaged to receive medical services, they're also making it more difficult for them to find housing. And I think this is part of what's being missed here, Dr. McRae.
I agree with you, Daryl. One of the things is that they're already pricing people out of existing locations anyway. We're already dealing with that. But now we're dealing with also the safety net for whether it's a VA home loan or FHA home loan. Those are all being cut back with respect to what they're going to underwrite so that people can be first-time home buyers. All of those programs, the social safety nets, in all area and aspects of government are being cut out. And one of the questions that I wrestle with, and I know, Dr. Kaye, it comes back to racial fascism, but one of the things that I wrestle with is, since when is a government so anti his people? The president of the government. He said he hates one group of people over another group. Even if I disagree with former presidents' policies, like a Reagan or either Bush or something like that, I never had the sense that they hated their people. And what they're doing, to get back to your question, Daryl, is that they're putting forth policies that cut us out of the middle class. They cut us out of home ownership. They cut us out of entrepreneurship. They cut us out of maintaining our own health and our health care. What is the point of this other than to get us closer to the 100 million people that Stephen Miller wants to look more like him and get rid of the rest of it? So,
right.
Yeah.
Can I chime in as well? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
If I may, I just wanted to just answer what Dr. Karen has laid out. The idea of dealing with a government that so passionately hates its members of a certain political group. I've been doing a lot of research talking about, what is it that collectively binds a democracy together? Like when we look at the collapse of democracy, and everyone's using that language, people are not really kind of interrogating what does it mean to have a democracy collapse. And we're calling it authoritarianism, fascism, but I don't think people really understand what that means. That democracies are held together by having social capital, which is this notion of high levels of trust in the government. Even if you did not support Reagan, you didn't support Bush or Clinton, there was a sense that they were working for the good of all the people. Even if you didn't personally benefit, you never felt they were doing it just to go against you, even though they were. But there was a sense of trust in the governmental authorities. There were strong institutions that people were able to come together, work, figure things out within these institutions, and we had shared stories, right? We had these communities that we had built. Social media has broken that all down. You can now go into your silo, and you can be surrounded by people who think just like you, whether or not they're thinking in truth or something they've made up. And you openly have a governmental system that is capitalizing on the breakdown in social networks. So even though Donald Trump at this moment seems to openly hate one group, President